welcome my senior students and welcome to the second part of Great Expectations, the analysis and also the storytelling. احنا وقفنا اخر حاجه في السكند part في الفيرست part sorry. It was about that he traveled to London. هنا هيبتدي بقى Pip to pursue his dreams، يشوف هي الدريمز بتاعته، بس هنا guess what? It was actually the contrary. هنا اول ما سافر للندن already he showed that everyone was actually the opposite that he imagined. كان عكس كل حاجه هو تخيلها. الشوارع ما كانتش افضل حاجه، كذلك برضو كان الناس تتهافت لان هو في ناس في محاكمه ناس، فالناس فاكراها ان هو عرض، فبالتالي كانت فرحانه. فطبعا London wasn't the big or like the sweetest dream that he has ever dreamed of. فبالتالي بيب هنا اوريدي سافر وراح لمستر جاجرز هاوس. مستر جاجرز زي ما قلنا في الفيرست بارت he was a lawyer، طبعا قلنا الديسكربشن بتاعه. مستر جاجرز هاوس اوريدي was the custodian. custodian هنا يعني الواصي على بيب عشان يعرف هو بيصرف كام وان هو بيروح فين وحاجات زي كده، لان هو بينفاكتور. بس هو البينفاكتور قال له you will be governed or you will be provided money but in two conditions. One, that you will not change your name, which will remain Pip. Second thing, that you will not know the name of benefactor, which will remain secret. These were the two conditions that the benefactor mentioned, and of course Pip agreed to them. And then before traveling to London, he saw Miss Havisham for the last time, and Miss Havisham also didn't tell him that she wasn't the benefactor. She let him know, or she let him decide whether she was the benefactor or not, but he was أصلاً he was in the conception of that Miss Havisham was the benefactor، بس هنا Miss Havisham didn't want to tell him. فطبعا ده ما كانش حق، لأن هو Miss Havisham ما كانتش البنفاكتور بتاعه. كذلك إن Miss Havisham كانت مدية فلوس لبيب مدية فلوس لجو عشان جو hired Pip as an apprentice، وده كان طبعا قبل ما يسافر للندن. نرجع تاني بقى لما بيب سافر للندن. زي ما قلنا ان هو it wasn't the dream that he dreamed of, and also he started to go for Mr. Jaggers to give him the money. يديله الفلوس عشان to start to work in London او started to get better education. طب مين اللي هيديله better education؟ احنا قلنا في الفيرست بارت it was بيدي، وبيدي طبعا كانت افضل معلمه هي درست له، لان هي كمان عرفته ان هي it wasn't all about the money or the love that make you happy. لا، it's all about being happy for being happy. that you are happy of what you have. And also هنا هيبدأ شخصية جديدة هي مستر ماثيو بوكيت. ماثيو بوكيت ده هو التيتشر بتاع بيب. And also Matthew Pocket had a son Herbert Pocket، وهربرت بوكيت ده يعتبر زي ما بيقولوا مفشي الأسرار، لأن هو عرفنا كل أسرار النوفل كلها، أسرار كل الشخصيات. فهربرت بوكيت ده اللي هنركز عليه في السكند بارت of the novel. Herbert Pocket started to be the roommate of Pip، كان شريك بيب في الأوضة. they started to work, or they started already to talk together، يعني to talk to each other, to know more about Mr. Jaggers, to know more about Miss Havisham, and they didn't know who the benefactor was. فطبعا دي احنا مش هنتكلم قوي على حته البنفاكتور، احنا هنتكلم على مستر جاجرز. ومستر جاجرز برضه he was a lawyer of Miss Havisham. فمستر جاجرز كان زي ما بيقولوا common factor between Miss Havisham والبنفاكتور اللي انا مش هقول اسمه. فهنا هربرت ابتدى ان هو يقول له ان هو he was actually in love with Stella. فطبعا هربرت كان he was actually a suitor يعني كان من الخطاب بتوع ستيلا، بس هنا he started not to love her anymore. ابتدى ان هو يكرهها. لو تفتكروا ان كان في جزء برضو في الفيرست بارت of the novel ان هو هربرت اللي هو he was the pale young man he fought with Pip. فطبعا هو already Pip realized that Herbert Pocket was the pale young man. He was actually given him the name pale because his skin was pale. كانت البشرة بتاعته كانت pale، كانت شاحبة. فهنا Herbert and Pip started to be friends, and also Herbert started to make Pip know what all about Miss Havisham, Mr. Jaggers, and also the common or the companion of Miss Havisham herself, and also Stella, especially Stella, because Pip actually knew that he was in love with Stella. Herbert was actually an alert to make Pip out of it, to get Pip out of it in order not to love Stella, because loving Stella will not be good for him. فهنا هنبدأ نتعرف على شخصية جديدة هي بنتلي درامل. بنتلي درامل he was a muscular man. كان he was full of muscles. طبعا لو already درست الشخصيات تانية هتلاقي ان في برضو كان في شوية few people who was actually bragging or they were actually proud of their muscles and their bodies in order to show it to other people in order to make them like them. فهنا بنتلي درامل already started to show this or to show off his muscles and show off his strength to Mr. Jaggers to make Mr. Jaggers like him in a good way مش bad way عشان بس دماغنا ما تروحش بعيد. اوكي فبعد كده هنبدا ان احنا نعرف ان ستيلا started to like بنتلي درامل وطبعا هيبقى في النهايه خالص ان ستيلا married بنتلي درامل وده طبعا was disastrous ليه؟ لان هو ستيلا already هنحكي عنه ما تخليناش ندخل في التفاصيل قوي نمشي واحده واحده. فاوريدي هربرت قال لبيب على كل حاجه وقال له ان ميس هافشام ليه هي كانت لابسه فستان الفرح وكان ليه اصفر. هنبدا بقى نحكي عن قصه ميس هافشام. ميس هافشام already she was young and she was in love and also she had a fiance الخطيب بتاعها. But the thing is ان هو الفيانسي ده كان was playing on او مثلا he was fooling Miss Havisham in order to get her money. هو كان بس بيلعب عليها عشان ياخد الفلوس بتاعتها. طب مين ساعده؟ كان اخوها. فاحنا هنا عندنا ارثر اند كومبايسن او كومبيسن على حسب ما بتنطقها. ارثر ده كان اخوها بس ارثر already knew that he was doing something wrong. That's why he regretted doing it. But كومبيسن هنا بقى he didn't regret it. But he took all the money and then he traveled and no one knew whether he was alive or dead. فهنا هنعرف ان هنا all of what happened to Miss Havisham was because Compeyson and Arthur. هنا because she was preparing for the wedding, she was wearing a wedding dress and she was getting a candle. She was getting cakes and because of the wedding and also she was wearing her high heel or like bridal shoes. But the thing is, once she received the letter from her fiance, Compeyson, that he dumped her on her wedding day, she started to grieve. She felt that everything stopped. وده طبعا ده اللي كان يوضح لنا ان الساعة وقفت على 48 دقيقة 48 مش 48 كذلك بيوضح لنا ان هي she was actually wearing one shoe out of the two shoes. طبعا ان هي that was at the time that she received the letter. When she received the letter, she started to feel that everything stopped and the time stopped. That's why she stopped all the clocks at 8:40. فهنا ساتس نرجع بقى لو تفتكر ان انا قلت ان الهاوس was named Satis without moving. That's why she wasn't moving at all. She was sitting on her chair long time for almost 20 years. فبعد كده بعد ما he started to be a gentleman and he was educated, he came back to Miss Havisham. Allah, where is Stella? He was actually concerned of finding Stella or about finding Stella. فهنا Stella actually traveled. Miss Havisham made her travel to other countries in order to have better education and start to be a lady. فهنا طبعا Miss Havisham لاحظت على بيب ان هو already زعلان فقالت له do you think that you lost her؟ هل حاسس ان الموضوع انك خسرتها؟ فطبعا بيب اتضايق. بعد كده هو started to go back to his house اللي هو Joe's house and he started to work with يعني not to work with the family. He started to meet the family بس هنا he traveled again to London and he started to continue his life. and also هنحكي بقى النهاية بعض الحاجات ان احنا هنا بيب will get to meet his secret benefactor. البنفاكتور بتاعه هو he started to be Magwitch. Magwitch, as you remember, Magwitch was the prisoner that he met in the marches in the first chapter. كان أول شخص already بيب اتعرف عليه أو قابله في الرواية. فماجويتش هل from where he got all of this money؟ احنا عارفين Magwitch already was on the prisoner ship. فماجويتش already traveled to Australia because that was the place that they let people or prisoners travel to. And then he escaped. He worked in Australia for a lot of time in order not to make Pip work. يعني هو الفكرة بتاعته برضه هو كان برضه بيفكر في بيب لأن بيب ساعده. هو كل شغله ده عشان يخلي بيب ما يشتغلش. وبرضه بيدي كان بتساعده عشان تخليه جنتلمان وجو كان بيبروتكتم بس at least Pip wasn't happy with all of that. ما كانش فرحان بكل ده. Pip actually was concerned of being happy or was concerned about himself بس. كان مهتم بنفسه or was concerned about getting Stella to be his lover. بس هنا already he met his secret benefactor Magwitch، بس ان Magwitch already قال له ان انا اسمي Provis now، هو غير اسمه عشان ما يتمش التعرف عليه. فهنا Provis already قال له ان هو he was actually working in Australia for a lot of time in order not to make Pip work or to bother، ان هو يتعب نفسه يعني. فبيب عارف ان هو البنفاكتور بتاعه ماجويتش، وطبعا ده كان جزء صعب قوي. كذلك هنعرف ان ماجويتش اوريدي لازم ان هو يسافر تاني، ان هو يتهرب من البلد، لان هو لو حد عارف ان ماجويتش اوريدي traveled او came back to England which will make him in prison again، فطبعا ماجويتش didn't want it. فهنا بيب هيساعده للمره الثانيه، يعني هنا هنبدا باول مره خالص ساعده كان في المارشز، هيساعده تاني مره ان هو to escape out of the country through boats. بس ده كان in the last chapter او في اجزاء chapters معينه في اخر النوفل نفسها. بس هنا هنبدا بقى نعرف بعض الحاجات. اولا مين هي ستيلا؟ احنا عرفنا ليه ميس هافشام was acting this way. ستيلا actually was Magwitch's daughter، كانت بنت ماجويتش. طب هو ماجويتش ليه اداها لميس هافشام؟ ماجويتش already because he was in prison he wanted someone to take care of his child. فطبعا هو طب وفين مامتها؟ مامتها مولي كانت شغالة كانت she was maid in Mr. Jagger's house، كانت شغالة خادمة في بيت مستر جاجرز اللي قلنا المحامي. يبقى احنا كده عندنا عرفنا مين الأب والأم. ماجويتش was the father and مولي was the mother. and also حتى لما بيب شاف مولي قال ان هو لما بيب شاف ستيلا قال ان هي كانت بتفكره بحد هو شافه. الحد ده كان مولي دي كانت الخادمة بتاعت مستر جاجرز. فمولي already and Magwitch they separated, and Magwitch gave the child to Miss Havisham because he was in prison and also he escaped from the prison to Australia. دي الفكرة بتاعت ستيلا. نيجي بقى لستيلا والنهاية بتاعتها. ستيلا المصير بتاعها ان هي because Miss Havisham wanted her to be a cold-hearted. Stella already started to be superior to that، ان هي بقت اقوى. يعني هي لو ميس هافشام wanted to be like 80% cold hearted، لا ستيلا already ما شاء الله عليها بقت نابغه وبقت 100% cold hearted. She started not to feel anything about anyone. فهنا she hated Miss Havisham, also she hated men, and she married Bentley Drummer because he was stronger than her. وده برضه هيرجع في نفس الحلقه ان هي Miss Havisham already married man and then he dumped her. فهي كنت تحس ان هي she was actually cycling in a loop، فهي she wasn't getting out of it. فطبعا ده كان مشكله ان Miss Havisham was actually wasn't that happy that Stella married Bentley Drummel، قالت لبيب ان Stella is not there and also she married Bentley Drummel. and هنا طبعا بيب was completely angry and he asked her to be kind. فطبعا هنا كان مشهد، كان هو ده المشهد اللي انا قلت ان هو اتشال من القصه. المشهد ده كان بيقول ان هنا مس هافشام قالت ان هي يعني how come that you're asking me to be a kind person once after all of what happened to her and Pip asked her to be kind. طبعا that was actually زي ما بيقولوا a cold water on the head، حاجه كان صعبه جدا to be asked. فهنا مس هافشام started to be angry and she told him that what am I to be kind. But she was actually sad about what she did to Stella. Stella started to be cold-hearted and she had زي ما بيقولوا stone heart. And the thing is that Pip left Sata's house or left the Miss Havisham's house, and then he returned back and he found Miss Havisham's dead, which is actually one of the things that also was deleted from the novel. احنا ما عرفناش هي ماتت ازاي، فمش مهم ان احنا نعرف ماتت ازاي، المهم ان هي بقى الله يرحمها. فاحنا بنتكلم هنا ان هنا كل عناصر الشخصيه احنا كده عرفناها. لو ابتدى بقى يسالك اسئله، طب انت لو مكان كذا، لو مكان الشخصيه دي تعمل ايه، لو مكان كذا. في برضه سؤال انا شفته قبل كده لما درست ثالثه ثانوي السنه دي، بيقول بيب didn't have any morals. بيب ما كانش عنده اي اخلاق. ليه؟ he stole food and also he didn't feel regret or didn't feel guilty for his sister although that she took care of him, and also he felt guilty only for Joe because he loved him. بس. And also he helped Magwitch for the second time to escape out of the country, which is something illegal. That's why Pip يعني although that he was good-hearted regarding his actions, but that was still illegal. That's why he had no morals. طبعا also he can ask you, I mean the examiner, he can ask you other questions like, was Pip happy at the end? No, Pip wasn't happy at the end. ممكن also to ask you that did Pip fulfill his dreams at the end? No, he didn't. Another question بقى which is really great, was Pip correct about fulfilling his dreams in London? لا، هو ما كانش صح ان هو يحقق احلامه في لندن، لان لندن ما كانتش افضل حاجه. هو was actually thinking of the gentleman supposed to be in London. الجنتلمان لازم يكونوا في لندن، فطبعا ده طبعا كان خاطئ، فبالتالي he started to experience the bitterness and the agony of living in London. فطبعا he wasn't correct about living in London at all. A few طبعا questions, I will not give all the questions in the video, but however, now you know how to answer the questions regarding Great Expectations. And also, if you have any other questions that you are struggling to answer, just feel free to already to text me or send it in a comment, and definitely I will reply to them. And I wish you all the luck. I wish you all the luck and success in Senior 3. And not to bother yourself, it's just a phase. Do not stress yourself over 1 year. I know it's a fatal phase, but it's like, it will pass. Thank you for watching this video, and all the luck and success for you. Good night.